Hey friends, I'm Laura Major with Century 21 Signature Real Estate, and I am so excited you're here today because we are finally going to start talking to some of my clients about their stories. And today we're going to talk with Anne, who purchased her home about 3 years ago. Anne was looking for a fixer-upper, so we found her a loan program that was going to work with those goals, and she's taken it from there. Let's hear what she has to say. And start with kind of how you settled on wanting to buy a home. Maybe if you'd owned a home in the past, and how you decided on. We were looking for a very specific type of fixer upper. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So, I owned a couple houses in the past with my husband and when the kids were living at home. And then life circumstances happen and I found myself without living with my husband. So we sold our house that we built and I moved in with my daughter, my oldest daughter, and stayed with her. But she's got a tribe of kids, so uh, the space, it got full, and I was ready kind of to do my own thing, have my own place. And one of the things is, there's your dad. One of the things is that we built both of our houses. So we went through a place in Nebraska, and so we actually were our own general contractors. And so we did a lot of work ourselves. And so that's kind of like, one of the reasons why I wasn't afraid of a fixer-upper, because I had experience drywall, flooring, carpeting, painting. I mean, installing windows. I've kind of done it all. So,
Done it all. Yeah, yeah. And so when we started looking for a house, I remember we were dreaming some big dreams. Remember there was a house that we went to like 2 or 3 times. I mean, and it was a total gut job.
it was. Remember, it had no kitchen, and but I loved all the wood. I loved all the old wood of it. Sometimes I still drive by it and I look at it and I think that could have been
Just
mine.
dream about it. Well, because I think we brought, didn't we brought like two different contractors out there
Yeah,
to kind of get a bit on what would the total renovation cost be. Because we found a loan product. And so like we start talking now about the Neighborhood Finance Corporation, because it's a loan product where they finance the purchase of your house, but also the renovation. And it does encompass, so the purchase and renovation combined need to be your total pre-approval amount. And so we were collecting those bids to see if we could make those two numbers work together. Yeah. Yeah.
right. Yeah. And I remember, when we first looked at that fixer upper and you were just like, are you really sure? Like, are you really sure you want something that you have to put so much work into? Um, and then I think you had almost convinced me that no, I needed something that was a little more turnkey. And then we found this place, which was, I don't know, I think a happy medium, like it was turnkey
Can
enough.
move into it the day that you bought it. That other one, not so much.
Right, right.
That one would have taken some renovations, which, to be fair, most renovation loans do have about a 60-day grace period where you can buy it. You have 60 days before you have to move into it. So, but I do think those renovation for that project, in my defense, I think those renovations might have come back a bit over budget.
Yeah, I
Um,
think so. Yes, I
but
I definitely agree because when I drive by that house now, they've taken the fireplace out. So there's just a plywood wall there. So I would not have been in a financial place really to deal with that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, so in
yeah, that
hindsight,
makes sense.
it's
Great.
good.
In hindsight, you're welcome.
Yes. But then you were so much more open to me, because you just had some meetings with Homestead and were or yeah, Homestead? No,
Let's
Neighborhood
see. Yeah,
Finance.
yeah.
And you were like, I think I might have an option for you if you want to do something a little bit more fixer-upper. And so I think that's our happy medium where we ended up, finding something that
Yeah.
could use a little facelift.
Yeah. And so with neighborhood finance, every person that gets financed gets the $10,000 forgivable loan. You can add on more renovation costs if you want to. What were some of the projects that you used that forgivable renovation loan for when you got moved in?
I believe the biggest thing that I used it for was a new furnace and I added central air. So
That's
that was my
right.
big. Some of the smaller things, I got all new doors. That was a big, yeah, all new outside doors for the house, which was huge because, trying to keep the wind from
Hmm.
coming in. They did some electrical work. They did a little bit of plumbing work. So, yeah.
Have you run into anything that's different in with like renovations versus building from scratch? Have you run into any like, hard stops or problems that you weren't expecting?
It's really a good question because when you start looking at doing something that's a fixer-upper, the first real question is how much fixer do you want? Do you want something that you're going to need to put in a new kitchen and a new bathroom because they are not there? Or do you want something that just looks like from the 70s or the 60s and you think, oh, okay, this I can update. This is a fresh coat of paint. This is, some new tile or this is some new flooring, So you really have to know how much you're willing to do, and especially if you want to do it yourself, like that was
Mhm.
my thing is that I'm not afraid to get in there and demolish and put in drywall because I've done it before. So
Yeah.
it's not something that, worries me. But also, I've lived here almost 3 years now, and I'm still trying to love the house and decide how I want to move forward. So one of the things like in my kitchen, he put wood paneling, like I don't know, pieces of wood over metal cabinets. And my first thought was, oh, let's just get rid of these metal cabinets. But now we took the wood off, and even though they look hideous, we love the idea of the metal because we can put
Yeah.
magnets on, or so we're gonna this summer when it warms up, we're gonna sand all that down and then repaint it. So
Yeah.
it's like you don't have to rush. It's not like everything needs to be done tomorrow, you know. And I think that's one of the things that you're going to have to get comfortable with because if you're going to do a remodel on an older house, you may not have everything. You may not be able to do everything on day one, So when
Yeah.
you start prioritizing, but even as you start living in it and getting to know your house,
Uh-huh.
you can make some decisions, like you can say, oh, I kind of like this. I think I'm gonna see what I can do, as opposed to just saying, no, that's gone.
I think you hit on so many important things there. Like, one, it's not a race, like, it's going to take some time. And I think you're so, so right about living in the space. And you might think, like, I want to do this. But if you've been there for a couple of months, like, something changes, right? Even just to your point of, like, I want to make sure I always have a shower. So we're going to do this bathroom first instead of this bathroom. That's just like a lived experience and some planning and stuff. And then also knowing your own skills. Because there's definitely a cost factor between being able to DIY something and having to hire it out.
Right. Well, and
So,
and timing, right? Like how long it takes. Because obviously, if you hire someone to do the work, it gets done faster, So you have to be your own self-motivator to get things done, So you really do have to go into it with a plan of how you're going to tackle things so that you're not, 6 months later still wishing you had that upstairs shower,
yeah.
So
Okay, so with all of your experience, if you had to categorize house projects, I'm going to call painting the easiest, right? Painting is a gimme. Anybody could figure that out. You wanted a fixer upper, you wanted something that could truly be your something with character to match your pizzazz and zest for life and stuff. So I think maybe a good note to end on, or just to make sure that we cover here is you've been in your home for 3 years. Some projects are done, some projects are still coming. Do you still love the home? as much as day one, more than day one, less than day one. Yeah, take us into 3 years from now. What's it gonna be?
Yeah. So I still love the home. And every day when I'm thinking about, oh, let's do this or let's do that, I get excited again. I think the idea of fixing up your own home can be intimidating, but there's so many great stories out there on YouTube and on everywhere of people doing home renovations themselves, and it's just not scary because you have resources. So for me, the idea of taking an old slate and turning it into something that reflects, yes, my personality. And I don't have to make big changes, but it brings me a lot of satisfaction to do the work myself that I can and see my vision come come to frugality. I think for me, it's huge every time one more thing is done and I step back and I say, I did this, and I can be really proud of it. So.
Yeah, that's what I love to hear. And the grandkids are there now. I think I remember a time when it was looking for your own place, but a space of your own. But we've had our space, and now we've got the family back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
place for
I
everyone to come.
realize it's funny because I do like having, I mean, Cody's just about 5 blocks down. And so having the grandkids over like I did today, and then they're always coming over. They can walk over now. And that's huge for me, just
Yeah,
having my family close, but also having a place that they want to come to and hang out and spend time. So,
yeah,
yeah, it's a win.
So what did we learn? If you're in the market for a fixer-upper, we want something that has good bones and good guts. We want to know our own strengths, abilities, and willingness to do a project, and also know that it's going to take some time. You want to get to know your home and how you really want to change it before diving in. And remember, paint is not a project. And if all of that sounds good to you, give me a call and we'll find you your fixer-upper just like Anne.